Imagine you're stepping outside on a clear, calm night. You look up, and there it is, the moon, our silent, silver companion. It looks bigger tonight, not just a little bigger, but noticeably, breathtakingly bigger. You might dismiss it as a trick of the eye, but what if it wasn't? What if, one night, the moon started getting closer? This isn't just a scene from a sci-fi movie. This is a journey into a very real and very dramatic astronomical event. Stick with me, because what would happen next is more incredible and terrifying than you can imagine. First, let's set the scene. The moon orbits us at an average distance of about 384,000 kilometers. This distance is the sweet spot. It's what gives us our familiar tides, stabilizes Earth's axial tilt, and gives us that perfect view during a solar eclipse. But tonight, that cosmic dance is changing. The moon is on a collision course, or at least a much closer one. In the very first hours, the most obvious change would be visual. The moon would dominate the night sky. Amateur astronomers and stargazers would be the first to sound the alarm, their telescopes showing a rapidly growing lunar disk. Social media would explode. Is it a hoax? A weird optical illusion? But soon, the evidence would be undeniable. The moon is getting closer, and it's doing so fast. Within the first day, the effects would stop being just visual and start getting physical. The first and most dramatic impact would be on our oceans. Tides are caused by the moon's gravitational pull. As the moon gets closer, that pull intensifies not linearly, but exponentially. The familiar rhythm of high and low tides would be thrown into chaos. We'd see tides of unprecedented height. Coastal cities around the globe, think New York, Tokyo, Mumbai, Amsterdam, would face an existential threat. Seawalls and barriers built for a few meters of storm surge would be completely overwhelmed by tidal waves, tens, and soon hundreds, of meters. These wouldn't be tsunamis caused by earthquakes. These would be relentless. Daily surges of water, flooding entire coastlines, turning cities into new extensions of the ocean. Millions, if not billions, of people would need to evacuate inland, creating the largest mass migration in human history. But the water is just the beginning. The moon's gravity doesn't just pull on our oceans. It pulls on everything. It pulls on the solid ground beneath our feet. Right now, this land tide causes the Earth's crust to bulge by about 30 centimeters every day. A movement so subtle, we don't feel it. As the moon approaches, this subtle bulge becomes a violent strain. The immense gravitational stress on the Earth's tectonic plates would trigger a global geological nightmare. We would experience a massive increase in the frequency and intensity of earthquakes. Fault lines that have been dormant for centuries would rupture. Volcanoes would erupt with a fury we've never witnessed, spewing ash and gas into the atmosphere, blocking out the sun and altering the climate. The ground itself would become unstable, a constantly trembling, cracking surface. Meanwhile, up in the sky, things are getting even more chaotic. Earth's rotation would start to slow down. The mutual gravitational pull between the Earth and the approaching moon would act like a brake. Our 24-hour day would stretch longer and longer. This would have devastating effects on our climate and ecosystems, which are all finely tuned to the 24-hour cycle of light and dark. Imagine days that last for 30 hours, then 40, then 100. The side facing the sun would bake under relentless heat, while the night side would freeze in an extended, deep cold darkness. By now, the moon would be a terrifyingly huge object in the sky, possibly appearing larger than a setting sun. You could see its craters, mountains, and plains with your naked eye in stunning detail. It would no longer be a serene beacon of light, but a menacing giant hanging over us. During the day, it would block out the sun, casting strange, moving shadows across the landscape. And this brings us to a critical point in our lunar journey: the Roche limit. The Roche limit is the distance within which a celestial body, held together only by its own gravity, will disintegrate due to a second celestial body's tidal forces. For the Earth-Moon system, this limit is about 18,000 kilometers from Earth's center. Once the moon crosses this invisible line, the Earth's gravity would literally start to rip it apart. The side of the moon facing us would be pulled much more strongly than the far side. This differential would create immense tension, and the moon would begin to fracture and break up. At first, we'd see massive cracks appearing on its surface. Then, Huge chunks of lunar rock and dust would start to shear off. Over time, the entire moon would be torn into a massive debris field. What was once our beautiful satellite would become a spectacular and deadly ring system around the Earth, much like Saturn's. It would be a sight of terrible beauty, a shimmering ring of rock and ice, arching across our sky. But this beauty would come at a horrifying price. The newly formed rings wouldn't be stable. Chunks of the former moon, ranging from dust particles to mountain-sized asteroids, would begin to rain down on Earth. This would be a perpetual meteor shower from hell. The initial impacts would be catastrophic, with large fragments striking the surface with the force of thousands of nuclear bombs. They would create massive craters, trigger tsunamis if they hit the ocean, and throw enough debris into the atmosphere to cause an impact winter, plunging the planet into darkness and cold for years, possibly decades. Even the smaller debris would be a constant threat. The constant bombardment would make the surface of the Earth uninhabitable. Any remaining life would need to seek shelter deep underground. If such shelters could even withstand the constant seismic shaking, the sky would be a permanent light show of shooting stars. A constant reminder of the destruction of our moon and the subsequent siege upon our planet. The atmosphere would be choked with dust and soot, the air unbreathable. So, in the end, if the moon started getting closer one night, it would trigger a chain reaction of disasters. Catastrophic tides would erase our coastlines. Unprecedented earthquakes and volcanic eruptions would reshape the continents. Our planet's rotation would slow, drastically altering our climate. And finally, the moon's own destruction at the Roche limit would turn Earth into a shooting gallery, pummeling the surface into a barren, lifeless wasteland. It's a terrifying thought experiment, but it gives us a profound appreciation for the delicate balance of our solar system. That gentle, silver orb in our night sky is more than just a pretty light. It's our planetary stabilizer, our tidal engine, and our silent guardian. Its precise distance and orbit are essential for life as we know it. So next time you look up at the moon, take a moment to appreciate that it's right where it's supposed to be, at a safe, beautiful, and life-sustaining distance. Thank you so much for joining me on this cosmic what-if journey. If you enjoyed this and want to explore more mind-bending scenarios, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what other cosmic questions you'd like us to answer. Until next time, keep looking up.